Here's the truth. Most of the men listening to this, guys, we're not failing. We're high functioning. We work hard. We grind. We provide. We show up. We push through. We override the fatigue. We override the irritability. We override the anxiety that's there pretending that nothing's wrong. Everything's good. I'm good. I'm fine. How's your life? Living the dream as we bury it under all these counterfeit comforts just to numb ourselves out to it so we don't feel it. We ignore the distance in our marriage. We override and ignore the quiet loss of joy, the little moments from our kids when we're like, this is supposed to feel really good and it doesn't feel bad, but it doesn't feel as good as I suspect that it should. And we call that discipline. We call it grit. We wear that like a badge of honor. This capacity is noble, but it's also dangerous. What we're really doing is taping over our gauges on our dashboard of our life, and then acting surprised when the engine starts to break down. I didn't have any signs. What's good, fatherhood? What would your life be like if you could finally get out of your own way? What would your wife's life be like? What would your children's life be like? Not just today, but 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. What would your family life be like if you could get out of your own way? If you could sever the ties that bind you to who you've always been and become everything that you possibly could be, not hypothetically, not someday, not after things slow down, but now. What would that change in your marriage and how your kids experience you and how it feels to wake up in your body every morning? Right now, maybe you're laying there like, I don't want to get out of bed. What would it feel like if you could break through? Most men never ask that question honestly, and those who do or have been asked that question don't answer it honestly. Because once you do and you see the gap between where you are and who you are and everything that you could be, the God-given potential that you were born here with on this earth, you can't unsee the gap. And that gap is really uncomfortable. Here's the truth. Most of the men listening to this, guys, we're not failing. We're high functioning. We work hard. We grind, we provide, we show up, we push through, we override the fatigue, maybe with caffeine. We override the irritability. We push through it. Maybe we overreact. We override the anxiety that's there pretending that nothing's wrong. Everything's good. I'm fine. How's your life? Oh, living the dream as we bury it under all these counterfeit comforts just to numb ourselves out to it so we don't feel it. We override, we ignore the distance in our marriage. We override and ignore the quiet loss of joy, the little moments from our kids when we're like, this is supposed to feel really good and it doesn't feel bad, but it doesn't feel as good as I suspect that it should. And we call that discipline. We call it grit. We wear that like a badge of honor. To an extent, this capacity is noble, but it's also dangerous. Because what we're really doing is taping over our gauges on our dashboard of our life, and then acting surprised when the engine starts to break down. No, I didn't have any signs. This isn't weakness. It's misdirection. You weren't taught another way. The deepest lie that we're living with, that we're burying, we're hiding underneath everything. If we were to acknowledge those check engine lights and acknowledge the challenges, it isn't I'm broken. This is just who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am stressed. This is who I am disconnected. This is who I am reactive. This is who I am numb. This is who I am busy. This is who I am tired. This is who I am. This is life. These things, all this pain, all this shit happening that I don't want to be happening. These things I was wishing that I am wishing are different. This is who I am. Disconnected from my wife, we're roommates. We have a great friend zone relationship. I don't see my kids as much as I'd like to. And worse than that, when I am with them, I'm not totally there. I'm on my phone, I'm distracted, or I'm in my head and I can't get out of it. And then I overreact to them way more than I want to. This is who I am. Brother, nobody showed you another way. What do? We bury it. We numb it. Pretend it's not there. We bury it under these counterfeit comforts, and then we push through. We just keep pushing through. Man, that's noble. That becomes the cycle. What is the cycle? Well, things that were done to you as a child, you are going to do to your kids. That's the cycle. The things that you watched play out in the marriages around you, that's what's going to happen between you and your wife. Unless you face them, you face the cycles, and you break them. And it begins here. Listening to this right now. Here's the most dangerous version of the lie and the life, and that is I come last. My health, my well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally. That's the dragon that most men are riding on. The one that we've been told to ride. We've been trained to ride. That's the only dragon we were taught to ride. When we ride him long enough, he burns us to a crisp. Not just us, though. Relationship with our kids, our home. That's what we love the most. Until there's no man left to provide in the ways that actually matter, not just financially. You do that already. I mean, emotionally. Building the relationships, the best relationships of your wildest dreams that your kids want to have with you, that your wife wants to have with you, even though there's probably a part of her that's hurt, that's wounded, and that's stopping her from opening to you in the ways that would open up that relationship from her side. When we ride this story, we ride this dragon, we ride this way of being for too long, it burns us to a crisp. Just the shell of a man, burnt out, stressed out, impulsive, reactive, running the play, running the program that was installed into us by our own parents and our own conditioning and our own society growing up. It's heartbreaking, man. What might be more heartbreaking is that I believe that the souls of our children actually choose us. They choose us. They come to us as their mama, their papa. Well, us as their papa, but they come to your wife as mama for our gifts. Because we have everything it takes to help steward them to their potential and complete their task in this life. They chose you for your gift. You have a gift to give to them. If you have a gift to give to them, how the hell does it make any sense to give them less than everything you've got from your fullness? Not just what's left. Brother, again, I'm not talking financially. I'm talking about everything else. There's a reason why ancient traditions revered that fire that burns. And there's an old story about a bird called the Bennu. Thousands and thousands of years ago, he lived through his life cycle. And near the end of his life cycle, he got an urge, this inescapable urge to build. And so he started to gather twigs and branches and leaves to build the most beautiful nest at the Temple of the Sun. And he sang the most beautiful bird song ever heard. People from around heard it and they came to watch. Even the animals were astonished. They came to watch this bird building this glorious nest, sing this awesome song. And when he was finished, he nestled into the nest. And the sun set. He lived in that nest for a little while. Seasons passed. The heat, drought of summer came. And one day the sun rose and he began to sing again, gathering the attention of everyone and everything around. The sun rose and fell upon the dry nest, began to smoke until it burst into flame. And everyone watching is astonished. The bird sat there and he continued to sing. But he didn't just sing what he was singing before. He elevated it. He amplified the beauty of the bird song, surpassing anything he had sung before, as the flames consumed him. And he didn't sing and cry out of pain and agony. No, he sang more beautifully until he was completely consumed. Nothing but ash. When a young boy came to investigate the scene afterwards, what he didn't find was a simple pile of ash. What he found something white, circular in that ash, and as he very carefully scraped the embers away, he found an egg in there. The next phoenix. The phoenix isn't a story about a bird. It's a story about you. It's a story about us. It's a story about our role as men and as fathers. Burning isn't destruction. It's about release. It's about letting go. We're all called. We all feel the pressure to step into something greater, to get our house in order, as the phoenix was called, to build his nest. We realize that who we have been can no longer support who we desire to become, the life we want to have with our wife. I don't want to be in a friend zone relationship. I want to fucking bend you over the bed and ravish you into oblivion until you see God and your legs are shaking so much that you can't stand anymore every single night. And I want to make love to you through everything that we do. That's what I want. When it no longer supports the way that you want to show up for your kids. And just being present. Millennials are we spend three times more time with our kids than any generation in history. We're present. But that doesn't mean that we're mentally and emotionally there. And yeah, you're probably sitting there like, oh yeah, I feel that because I feel this. I feel this too. When who you've been is no longer supporting the life that you desire to live and create, not just for you from some selfish perspective, but for your wife. Your sacred queen is their connecto, beneficial adversary, your Eve. And for your children, who are really the only legacy that you ever get. They are going to be walking little programs of you walking around in the world, and their kids and their kids' kids are going to walk around saying and doing things that you did. That's your actual legacy. Something's calling. There's a nest to be built. And that nest calls when the life that you've been living, the man that you have been, can no longer support the life that you really want to live and to give. And you will either sit on the couch and use everything underneath the sun to numb out to that call and pretend like you don't hear it. You numb out to the bad feelings, the pain that you're feeling mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And you numb out to the call. Brother, you don't have to accept the call. I'm telling you, accept the fucking call. This is the way of what's called tapas, like Spanish food, tapas, right? It's Sanskrit for to burn. This is the way that we practice inside of the Order of Kings, inside of the Jedi Father Order, and soon inside the Great Collective. Being a man, not just being a man, but being a husband and a father, the leader of a family, the leader of a home, the leader of a lineage, is to burn. This is the sacred fire of discipline. And that word discipline, once the French, because French are a little kinky, once they got hard about it, or maybe they did get hard about it, once they got a hold of it, that word became about punishment. And pain. But really, discipline comes from something else. Comes from discipulus, comes from disciple. Jesus had 12 disciples. It means to be a student, but not just to be a student, but to live the way, to live the path, to live in alignment with everything that could be, to lean into it. Leaning into that fire, it's not about martyrdom. It's not about burning yourself down into a crisp, into ash, with nothing to give. What you have to do, if you want something different for your wife, if you want something different for your kids, it's about aligning to your North Star. The life that lights you on fire more than anything else that you could provide for your wife and you could provide for your kids if you just got out of your own way. The relationships that you want to have, the future you want to have. Phoenix aligned himself to the next generation, and he built the nest. Your work is to build your nest. What is the work you need to do in order to make that life happen? And then the most important part, you got to sit in the fucking nest. You have to do the difficult work. And this isn't just the putting your head down in the day-to-day grind. No, this is doing the stuff that is going to tear you apart. Okay, the gym. Yeah, that makes sense. It's uncomfortable to work out at the gym if you want to get stronger, but I mean the mental stuff. That's going to help you break the things that are taking your attention, taking your awareness elsewhere, the addiction to stress more than anything else, and to coping, using counterfeit comforts to numb out to that stress, porn, doom scrolling, wisdom scrolling, TV, video games. The emotional burn of admitting that I have pain. I feel pain. I've caused others pain. Others have caused me pain, not just numbing out to that. Because emotions can only be suppressed, repressed. That pressure has to go somewhere. It's going to blow out somewhere, or expressed. We want to express it in a constructive way by going into that work and embracing that burn, just like you would in the gym. The discomfort of actually having the tough talks and doing the work on yourself to show up in your marriage the way that your wife needs you to. Therefore, enabling her to show up the way that you desire her to for you. Face your shit that you're handing down to your kids. And to do the actual training, the sets, the repetitions necessary to build the skills so that you can show up for them the way that you want to. Patient, long fuse, impossibly long fuse. So deeply present, indistractably so. Empathetic, able to get on their level and feel them, no matter what, without just quashing their emotions. And then able to offer them the right guidance and boundaries so that they learn from discomfort and they become confident, competent people that society wants around. You have to look at the nest that you need to build, and then you need to build it, and then you need to sit in it and do that work. Karma in the yogic tradition, law of cause and effect. What is it though? It's our unconscious programs and patterns that create problems in our life, but also create good things in our life. And it's our work to look at what are the patterns, the programs, the ways of being, the habituations that are running in my life that I'm unconscious of that are creating problems. In the yogic path, everything we do is to burn karma as quickly as possible in this lifetime so we can get out in the next lifetime. We can go be with God in heaven. It's a really real big simplification there, but that's the essence of it. You have to look at what are the things that I'm not seeing, that I'm unconscious of, that I need to unwind so I don't pass it down to my kids. And maybe I can get out this lifetime. I get to go to heaven. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool thing. But we're not here to have that kind of podcast. Burning karma, your unconscious ways of being, your programs, your patterns is slow. It's painful. And as you immerse yourself in this work, you might not even notice that you're releasing at first. Enlightenment is something that we throw around in Buddhist circles, meditation circles, yogic circles. It says everything about it in the word. To enlighten means to de-heavy, to shed the things that are pulling you down, the chains that are dragging you down. We forge the chains that we wear in this life and we hand them to our kids. And firework, tapas work, is the work necessary to break those chains through the heat of your tapas, of your discipline. And it's not physical. It's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's relational, it's healing, your lineage, everything that you've carried. You might not even notice that you are really changing at first, because there's going to be times where you're going about this. You're like, yeah, I'm working out, I'm getting fit, I'm doing yoga, I'm getting more flexible. And you know what? That's making me, I feel like I'm becoming a better person because of that, because I'm not as reactive anymore. I can breathe. Like I can breathe for the first time and as long as I can remember. I've been doing this breath work and man, it really helps me when my kids are melting down. I've been meditating and man, when my wife and I start to disagree, I can see the thoughts playing out in my head before I say them and I don't put in my foot in my mouth anymore. And we don't fight about stupid shit because I don't say stupid things. I don't make her problems about me anymore. You might not even notice that at first because you change a little bit, 0.1% every day. It's not going to be easy. Some days you're not going to want to show up. You're going to be like, why am I doing all of this? You're going to wonder why the hell are you doing it? Until somebody who barely knows you says, you're so chill now. Can I just hang out with you? What are you doing? Until your wife feels different around you and she says something about it. Until your kids soften when they're with you and they really come to you first with anything, with everything. Until you start to feel joy in the littlest of moments, sitting out in the backyard, not having a beer, but just sharing a moment with your wife, looking up at the leaves and the trees. Man, we got it good, babe. Until you start to feel that randomly. And you don't get these things because life gets easier. I'm going to tell you one thing, life is not just going to get easier. Fuck that. Give up on your attachment to one day when life gets easier. It is never coming. You don't get these things because life gets easier. You get these things because you become more grounded. You become more resilient. You release all the weight that's holding you down and pulling you down. You get into that fire voluntarily and you emerge a different man who can breathe again, who can be here again. All of him, all of you. And everyone can feel that. Your wife, your kids, your son, your daughter, your mother-in-law. She says, wow, he's so good with the kids. And you only hear this after the fact because your wife says something to you. So where do we start? Where do we start? You have to know as you come into this work that you're schizophrenic, man. This is not a diagnosis, okay? I'm not a doctor, I'm not diagnosing you. When I began my work at the Temple of Kriya Yoga, studying the lessons of the late Goswami Kriyananda, he said, as he didn't say, he said, as you progress on this path, you're going to begin to feel schizophrenic. You're going to realize that there is more than one person inside of you. And most of the time I was like, all right, you're an old kook, but I'm here because this works. And I want to learn why. And I want it to work more. And he's right. This is why a lot of guys don't want to sit in meditation. They don't want to listen to the voices that are in there. They're scared of what's going on. Every man is living with a minimum of two selves, bro. His lower self, the survival self that he built as a child, learning how to fit in, how to belong, how to avoid abandonment, being kicked out of the peer group, how to not feel inadequate. Part of you, he's strategic, efficient, protective. He fits in. He's a mask that you put on and you wear so that you can be accepted. And he's rooted in fear. And you let him run your life. And though, and the things that he does, the ways that he enables you to show up are useful at the beginning, he also becomes your ceiling. The only thing holding you back from the life that you want to be living with your wife, with your kids, and yourself, your career, is the identity that you are clinging to. This is the creation of the ego. And this ego and the coping patterns that help you numb out to the pain that you're feeling that you hide underneath the surface when you put this ego mask on, those are the dragons. And yeah, they're useful at first until they're not useful anymore, until you want something bigger. And it's at that point that you have to, and you don't have to, you could just sit on the couch and let this all play out in your life. But if you're listening to this, you have to become a dragon hunter. You have to look for the smoke. And you're already thinking about this with your phoenix nest. What's not working? Where's there pain in your life? Where are the things that you're hiding underneath the surface? What's the invisible burden that you're carrying that you're not talking about that weighs you down and leaves you feeling burned out every night, that you try to cover over with your counterfeit comforts? The things that are going on in your head when your wife is trying to talk to you and she's like, you're never really here, or your kids want to play with you, but like you just can't be there with them because your head is everywhere else as you're trying to play with them. These are your dragons. Well, that's the smoke that leads to your dragons. Your work is to follow the smoke because those things no longer serve you. Those are patterns that you created to get by, and now they're creating problems. Self number one. And then you've got your higher self, the king self, the solar self, the sun being the universal symbol for the masculine, radiant, shining down upon the garden of your family. They grow up towards you. They grow up towards you. Your kids are going to take on 80% of your lifestyle habits. They grow up towards you, towards the sun. This is your higher self. He is the one who grows the garden. He is the one that you know that you could be if you just got out of your own way. The health that you could have, the strength, the conditioning, the flexibility, the vitality, the six-pack abs, the stamina you could have. Ravishing your wife with your cock until she comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times and crawling back begging for more. The pillar of patience and presence and empathy and deep connection that you could be for your kids is who you could be. If you could just get out of your own way. All of these things happening not because life got calmer or easier again, but because you are calmer. You are easier to be in relationship with. And through that calmness, that groundedness, like an electrical system, the ground dissipates the excess energy so it doesn't light your freaking house on fire. That becomes you. You are the grounding one. Being with you, being around you becomes ease. You bring ease with you everywhere you go. People want to be with you. And like a flower, your wife opens to the sun. So do your kids. King work, gentlemen, tapas, phoenix work. It's all the same. It's aligning to that self, capital S self, over and over and over and over again. Even when you don't want to. This is not just working out. This is waking up every single morning and dropping into your practice. Yes, the sets and repetitions that build the skills of patience and presence and empathy and deep connection. Things like your breath work, your meditation, your emotional tapping work. That's primal masculine release work to face. Yeah, I'm having pain right now. I'm feeling so anxious. And underneath that, there's fear. What is it fear of? Fear of losing my house and ending up with nothing. And I know it's ridiculous, but it's there. And okay, I'm going to do this physical practice to release it because emotions can only be expressed or repressed or suppressed. And I refuse to suppress it and repress it and have that end up burning my family. I'm going to ground it here. Waking up, putting in that work, aligning to your vision, what you're creating for yourself, your family, your wife, your kids, for the world every single day. And here's one thing, doing it hand in hand with God. God, please make me into the most faithful and powerful instrument of your purpose today, because I know that this purpose that I am called to is not mine. It is yours. And if I stay aligned to you and to the sun here and to it, I cannot fail, not because of me. I'm nothing, but because of you. And I know that you cannot fail. You have to align yourself every single day. And then you go to the gym. Then you go build your budget. Then you do the uncomfortable financial work. Then you go into the work on your relationship with your wife. Then you go plan a sexy date for her. You tell her, hey, babe, I booked this. We're going on a date, 4:30 p.m. Friday. I'm an old person. Guys listening to this, my wife and I like the early bird special. Childcare is taken care of. You don't have to think about it. This is the type of place that we're going. I'm not telling you where we're going. Wear your sexiest outfit. I'll pick you up 4 o'clock. And then you do it. You align yourself to your vision. You put in the work to cultivate the qualities that you want every day, your patience, your presence, your empathy, your deep connection through the inner strength training work that I've already talked about. And then you go out there and you do the uncomfortable things that you know need to be done, fully aligned to that. This is biohacking, because aligning yourself to that every single day, to that highest vision, actually biohacks the HPA axis. When you think about the discomfort that you have to face, and you know it's for this highest vision, you check in with that vision every single day and you feel it. You feel like it's going to feel so good when I bend my wife over and ravish her. Sorry to go back to that one all the time, but to be so deeply connected with her that we're just on the same page again. We complete each other's sentences all the time. She's open to me. She craves me. She wants me. She looks forward to me coming home every single day. Not just now, but in 10, 20, 30 years. My kids, they light up when they see me and they come to me first. And I have the capacity to get on the ground with them and play and be with them. And remember that, regardless of what's going on in my life. If you plug into that just for a moment, like 1 minute every day, you plug into your vision, you start to secrete serotonin and dopamine and all these amazing hormones and neurotransmitters when you go to do the uncomfortable work. You start to become addicted to the uncomfortable thing. This is the work, guys. Immersing yourself in this fire every single day. In the gym, the burn is your muscles, but the real work is the burn of staying with your breath when your mind wants to run. And every part of you wants to run away from the conflict that you're facing right now with your wife. From the discomfort of, I'm not going to have the money to pay the mortgage this month and I need to figure something out. To face that instead of burying it and then ending up in a terrible situation. It's being able to hold the tension. That is the masculine. Without escaping it, not suppressing it, but having the breath and the tools to ground it, to dissipate it. It's staying present in the hard moments with your wife and in your breath instead of shutting down or running away and pretending it's not happening for days and weeks until it blows up again, and repairing quickly instead of dragging resentment for days. Doing your practices when you don't have time, because if you don't build the nest and sing through the fire, then yesterday will become tomorrow. And before you know it, an entire year will disappear. In your marriage, it won't be bad, but it sure isn't going to be what it can be. Your kids are fine, but you miss moments that you will never get back. And now they're 4 instead of 3, or 5 instead of 4, or 8. instead of 7, and you missed that crucial developmental time. Every single day is so different. You're 1 year older. You have 1 year less energy, less capacity to put in the work. 1 more year of playing small, of living in your smaller self underneath your belt, deeply ingrained. That's the real cost. You look in your crystal ball right now, you continue living that life. Where are you going to be in 3 years? Who's going to be impacted by that? And a lot of men sitting here right now are like, yeah, I don't have time to do all that stuff. And I'm not telling you you have to do all of it, but you got to look. You got to look at what the actual problem is. And yeah, okay, yeah, I'm terrible with emotions, and so I get irritated, blow a fuse easily, and when I'm not doing that, I'm trying to suppress it under everything underneath the sun. And yeah, okay, I overreact with my wife. I say things that I shouldn't, and I turn little disagreements into big ones. But I don't have time to do all this work. I don't have time to do breath work every day. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to learn primal release and do that. I don't have time to go do yoga or go to the gym or eat clean. You name it. You name it. You have an excuse somewhere. I come up with them too. You have an excuse somewhere. And men say that time is the problem, but it's not the problem. Time reveals truth. And the truth is that you make time for the things that are important to you. You make time for the things that are important to you. This is something that we do inside of Kings. Look at where your time goes. Do a time inventory. Where are you actually spending your time? Look, sit with your calendar. Write this down. Open up your phone. Look at your screen time. How many hours are you on your phone every single day? Look at the apps. There's even a function on the Apple on iPhones to look at pickups. How many times do you pick up your phone? Tells you what's going on unconsciously. You reach for that first. Why? It's a little soothe, little dopamine hit. Oh, it makes me feel good just to pick it up. And what do you, when you pick it up, what's the first app that you open? That one's going to be uncomfortable too. These are the things that are important to you. Look at where you're spending your money. What are you spending your money on? Okay, yeah, your mortgage, your groceries, but like what within your groceries are you spending your money on? Is it high quality, organic, grass-fed, free-range food? Or you spend a little bit too much money on candy and chocolate covered pretzels and delights, decadence. You spend money on video games and I don't know what they're called, video game subscriptions or Netflix or OnlyFans. What are you spending your money on? Buying all kinds of cool Christian apparel, right? I got these cool shirts on. These guys are great. Funko Pops. What is it? What are you spending your money on? That's what's important to you. More important than whatever you're resisting right now. Ooh, that hurts. Where's your mind? What are you focusing on when you want to be focusing on your kids? What are you focusing on when you're supposed to be connecting with your wife, when she's talking to you? That is what's important to you, not who's in front of you. Ooh. Your secret thoughts, the ones you don't tell anybody about, not your wife, not your kids, not your brothers, your male friends that you might have. These are all your real priorities. Not what you want to be important, but the things that are actually important to you. Oh, you can't make more hours in the day. You can't make more time. But you can focus the time that you have way more efficiently, way more effectively than you are. You can focus your energy and stop hemorrhaging your focus, your energy, so that you can put that into what actually matters. The work that you need to do unto yourself, to yourself, within yourself, and into your wife, into your kids, into the relationships that you say are really important to you. I'm not telling you to quit your job. That's stupid. It's dumb. But with the time that you do have with them, you know that you could be more efficient, that you might be able to create a little bit of time to do the work necessary to skill up as a man, as a husband, as a father, forces alignment. Be honest with yourself. Here's one of the simplest tests I know. For testing your alignment. Consulting your inner compass, and if you're not sure which way you need to go, consulting that inner compass. What is true for me right now? Okay, I want to be more present with my kids. Am I present or not? We ask the question. Am I here right now or not? Am I falling into smaller self patterns of self-sabotage and coping again, or am I fully aligned within my heart to my highest calling? Am I showing up that way? Am I embodying that right now? We just ask the question. Am I in alignment? My words, my thoughts, my actions, are they integrated? Are they in alignment? If I asked my wife that question, would she say yes? Or would she point out all the ways that I'm not? Your compass has been talking to you this whole time. Your inner compass, the voice of your heart and your soul have been talking to you this entire time. Your heart, your soul, they are your connection to the highest, to God, to source. You've been ignoring them. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. And you know which ones I'm talking about. You don't need more information. You need to reduce the static in your life that's pulling you out of the present moment so you can be clearly and completely connected via that inner compass. When you clear that static, you are radically present. You are unshakable. You are connected to wife, to your kids, to life, to God. And your inner compass is telling you something right now. Most men ignore it. When Gandalf comes to the door, most men refuse the call. Or maybe they tiptoe across the threshold alone into this work. Go to the gym and I'm going to work out. I'm going to do this somatic breathwork experience that's going to blast me into infinity with no clue how to implement it in day-to-day life. No mentor, no allies. Most of us guys, we lone wolf it because we don't want to tell anybody we're going to this deep, dark of pain into our own wounds. That's not masculine. I don't want my guys to laugh at me. They want to go watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. Most guys do it alone. We lone wolf it. I lone wolfed it for a long time. The thing about the lone wolf is that he gets real lean and he dies in the wild alone of starvation, and not just physical starvation, but starvation of relationship, of love, connection. You were never meant to do this thing alone. Stop trying to go it alone. Get your buddies involved. Lean into brotherhood. There are a lot of great free community spaces and chats on. You just named the Instagram men's work influencer. Everybody's got their community page. I closed mine down. We've got brotherhoods. Everybody's got a brotherhood nowadays. Grab a workout buddy or a work-in buddy. Hey, bud, you and I are going to meditate every day. Yeah, maybe it sounds a little gay, but we're going to do it. I got this recording from Bill Jr. We're going to do it every day. Breath work. We're going to talk about our feelings. Work, guys. You need men to hold you in integrity to the things that you say you want and to the things that you say that you are going to do. How are you going to show up for your wife? How are you going to show up for your kids? And the training you're going to put in so that you can do that. Every man has asked himself one question here as we stand at the threshold. Knowing that life leads he who goes willingly, but drags he who resists. And that if you don't cross that threshold, you will be kicked across it by fate. How do you want your kids to describe you when you die? When you pass on, you leave all this behind. All your possessions, all the things, the Funko Pops. I don't know why I'm making fun of them right now. That you held so dear are meaningless now. How do you want your kids to describe you? Oh, he really likes Dragon Ball Z collections. He was a great Modern Warfare player. How do you want them to describe who you were? I want my kids to struggle for words. And maybe it'll be something like, man, Dad was an absolute myth of a man. He was always here. He could handle anything. and he could help me handle it. The way that he loved mom, it's insane. That stuff, guys, that stuff doesn't come from grinding harder. It comes from doing the work that enables you to cultivate those skills that makes you more patient, more present, more empathetic, more deeply connected. It gives you more chivalry, more courtship. You unlock those abilities. So I'll leave you with this today. What would your life be like if you stopped clinging to the man that you've always been? You built your nest, you sang your song, and you set it on fire. Not your house, not your kids, not your wife, but you sat in that fire. You sang, you stepped into the man that you know that you're capable of being, the one that your wife needs, the one that your kids need, and the one that they deserve. What would you burn to give them that life? Who's the man that would rise on the other side? Right now, listening to this right now, email me, rob@robbillJr.com. It's easy. Are you willing to step into the fire before life drags you into it? You're going to step into it and sing your song, or you're going to get kicked in, and you're going to kick and scream the whole time. And when you're on fire, when you get kicked in, you might just take your whole family with you. What will life be like when you get out of your own way? Keep your eyes on that. What is it that you are willing to burn for? And who's going to bear the cost of you staying the same? Continuing to suffer in silence. It's going to bear the cost of you continuing to show up in areas of life that matter most with scraps and leftovers. Who's going to be affected by that? That's the work. That's it for today. Thanks for being here. Have an uncommon day. Peace.